Hello and welcome to Ways to Wellbeing with Nicola Mackenzie and me, Jess Zazinski, and this is episode 8. Well, I say episode 8, but of course it's really episode 1 of our new podcast.
How exciting that we've joined the podcast world.
It is, because do you know, I believe we are the last 2 people on earth who don't have a podcast.
I think we might be.
Anyway, it's just as well we do have one, because we've got lots to tell you about this time around. It's absolutely buzzing here at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, there's lots happening. It feels like a very exciting time to be here. We've just secured funding for our wheelchair accessible vehicle, which is great.
Yes.
Adding a third car to our fleet.
That's for our community transport service, yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is great. That should be coming in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We've just relaunched our Out and About service, which is taking people on social trips to Home Mill Shopping Village, where they're doing a little bit of a wander around the shop and then having some afternoon tea. And yeah, that's been great. The feedback on that is just brilliant.
The feedback has come in lovely cards, handwritten cards.
I know,
it's amazing.
It's so sweet, isn't it? People taking the time to go out and buy a card, write it, send it off. It's just lovely. You can really see the impact that we're having on them.
I think it's a generational thing, that kind of handwritten thank you note.
It is, isn't it? But it just...
so much better than an email or a text.
Yeah, it feels...
had a great time.
It feels lovely, yeah. All the feedback's been brilliant, but yeah, when you get it handwritten in a card like that, it just seems extra special.
Mm-hmm. What else is on the go?
This Sunday, we're launching the Sunday Lunch Club. We've got 9 people going to Fort Rose Golf Club for Sunday lunch, which is brilliant. This is a new thing we're trialling. And Sundays is going to be the first one, so hopefully we'll be able to report back. And hopefully it'll be a great success. I'm sure it will be.
And something I'm very excited about that we're doing in April. You better tell us about it.
Yeah.
Can you reveal it yet?
Yeah, let's go for it. The book club, the Cheery Book Club.
The Cheery Book Club.
Which is very exciting.
Brilliant.
We're right at the early stages of that, but hopefully we're looking to get together once a month somewhere in Inverness, chat all things books, get together, make friends, have a little coffee, a little wine, something like that. Yeah, it'd be great. And
you know, I can think of no one better to run something called the Cheery Book Club than you.
Yeah, because I'm just so cheery.
You're so cheery on camera. I mean, far be it for me to say that we have to kind of dig you out of a pit of despair every morning, but on camera, once the camera goes on, yes, that laughter comes.
Yeah, just smile for the camera. Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, the Cheery Book Club, get in touch with us if you're interested in that, because we're hoping the philosophy is we'll discuss books that make you laugh or make you feel good, or inspire you to better health or well-being. But really it's about making new friends, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a great social thing.
And we want it to be the best book club ever.
Yeah, okay, let's go for it.
Because we'll invite authors to come and talk, you know. I don't know if you know any authors.
No, I don't. Not any decent authors, do you?
Well, far be it me to say. I mean, can't think of anyone who's written a couple of books.
No, me either.
No,
not sure.
They're definitely feel-good books.
No, I can't think. Sorry, no.
Neither can I. Anyway, before we move on, can I just give a quick shout out to the Macmillan Cancer Support Team, because I was speaking to them this week on a Zoom meeting and telling them about all these activities that you've just outlined, and telling them about our health walks, which Kate, our walks manager, will tell us about in a moment. And some of them knew what we do and some of them didn't, but the idea that, you know, we can take people to hospital appointments and things like that as well. So they were the jolliest bunch of people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were. I mean, I was telling about my whole experience with cancer a couple of years ago and how one of the support workers offered me some help, you know. And although she offered me some help, then the lockdown came and all these things that she suggested I couldn't do. But I mean, come on a health walk, come to a book club, you know, those are things that you can do. So shout out to the NHS Highland Macmillan Cancer Support Team. Yeah. Now let's check in with our roving reporter who never leaves Nairn, our walks manager, Kate Thompson. Welcome to the podcast, Kate.
Hello, how are you doing?
Are you on a yacht there?
You could be forgiven for thinking that, Jeff. I'm currently basking in glorious sunshine down at the beach at Nairn. It's just lovely. Very nice.
Forgive me for pointing out that visual thing on an audio podcast.
I know, Jeff, you're going to have to catch up here.
I'll have to learn. I don't know much about radio, you know, so what's going on in the world of walks, Kate?
Well, I think the big news in the walking project this month is that we're launching or relaunching 2 of our health walks that have been on pause for over 2 years, which is really exciting. So both the Nairn walk and the Allness walk will restart next week. So Nairn is going to be, Allness is kicking off on Monday at 9:30. They're meeting at the Aberon Centre and going for their first walk in 2 years, which is great. Had some lovely conversations with some of the walkers that used to join in with the group before, who are really delighted that we're getting back started. So that was a total pleasure to phone them and let them know they could rejoin us again. We've got some fantastic new volunteers there, which is great. And then Nairn is also going to be starting next Wednesday. They're meeting at 2:00 in the afternoon, so it'll be an afternoon walk. And we're doing that with Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland. So looking forward to working with them. And yeah, just going to be great. I'm hoping that the weather is as good as it is today for both groups getting started next week.
Great. And the Nordic Walking project's really captured the imagination as well, hasn't it? I mean, I think it's going to feature on a small radio station quite soon.
Yeah. So the Nordic Walking instructor, Karen, was contacted by BBC Radio Scotland, no less, and the Outdoors,
Never heard of it.
What's it called? Outdoors programme,
Out of Doors.
Out of Doors, thank you. On I think it's on a Saturday morning. Is that when that one is aired? Yes. And so that she's going to be interviewed on Wednesday, which is really exciting. And yeah, we're looking to extend that project and ways to kind of keep it going, because it's been the pilot has been very successful.
Great. Well, thanks. Well, stay with us, Kate, because I've been desperate to get to a special guest this time around. Really funny man. I've known him for a good few years now, and he's coming to Inverness. He's coming to us in Inverness with a show on the 11th of March. It is none other than the one and only Raymond Mearns. Hello, Raymond.
Hello, how are you, Jeff? Lovely to be on your podcast here.
Have you got your own podcast?
No, I did have one called Planet Mearns, which was it was a bit kind of haphazard. We would start talking about we had a plan, so we'd start talking about maybe the Scottish psyche and how we're all kind of born winners and driven by bile, and then we'd end up talking about the bins or something. It was a bit weird. It never really went anywhere. But I think it was funny. I think it was kind of very freewheeling, and we just talked about a lot of weird stuff. We did about 14 episodes. And then just binned them because we used music of all sorts, and we are going to end up in civil court. So we had to take it down.
Well, I hope we stick out the courts in this one.
Yeah, I've checked all our copyright rules, so don't worry. So, Raymond, you're coming to Inverness on the 11th of March, is that right?
I am indeed. It's going to be lovely to come along to Eden Court. I mean, it's the rescheduled show from, say, about 2 years ago. I mean, I don't know how many people is going to be there. I think I'm going to be in the smaller room. It'd be lovely to do the big room, but I'll be in one of the weird rooms. And I mean, I'm back doing that thing I do, live comedy, and it's going really well. And I'm lucky. I kind of came back, and some of my colleagues were saying, I can't remember my set and all that. But as you know, Jeff, I never really had an act. So, it was just like jumping back into the water. For me, I found it very easy. I did a full Fringe run last August, and that was brilliant. And I think I was 39 seats selling out the entire run, which was brilliant.
I've often wondered, your style of comedy, Raymond, is it looks like a stream of consciousness where you suddenly come out with these genius thoughts. And I don't know how much of that is pre-thought out, or whether when you're standing up on the stage, these brainwaves just come to you.
Well, yeah, whilst I would use the term genius very sort of guardedly, it's a combination of two things, right? Okay, every comedian has material. So what that is, that's your insurance policy. So you know that you've got routines that work. And if you have to default to that, that's fine. That's your sixth forward gear, that's fine. You know that's always there. But what I like to do to stop boring myself to death, I like to just, if an idea comes into my head and I think that's funny and I want to explore that, or I've read something about it. I read a lot. I mean, a hell of a lot, actually. And somebody will say something, or I'll hear something, and it'll be swimming about in my head, then I'll just go for it. And for some I don't know, maybe it's a God-given talent as a gift, I don't know, right? For some bizarre reason unknown to me, I'm able to kind of freewheel on some of these thoughts and then go to places which I never imagined. It's almost I have some sort of psychic comedy muse,
Yeah.
you know?
What a talent to be able to do that.
It's, yeah, but we got to remember, Nicola, I've failed at everything else. See, this is the last chance saloon for me.
It must be great to be back in front of an actual live audience again. But last night I was watching you on, I think, the New Year edition of Breaking the News, which was clearly recorded under COVID restrictions, you know.
Of course.
But
Well, yeah, but thankfully there were some brilliant people on it, people who I really like and I absolutely love as artists. So it's dead easy when you're with good people. They enhance what you're doing.
Have you missed that feeling of performing in front of a live audience?
I don't know that I did. No, I don't know that I did. What I did, curiously, I took a job. I went and worked in a hospital for 2 years. I've handed my notice and I leave next Wednesday.
really?
Oh,
So
right.
I got a day job, sending out the PCR tests. And then they moved me into what's known as ward stock management. So every ward has all its supplies that it needs, everything from, I don't know, incontinence pads to syringes and you name it, they need it. I go in and count everything. And then we have a system that orders it up and then it gets delivered and then we do it every week. So I leave next Wednesday. Well, I leave on, I don't know when the podcast comes out, but I leave on the 9th of March. I've handed my notice in. So I can back to being an old hippie, you know. Just
What a
hanging about.
contrast, Raymond. What a contrast.
Surely
Yeah,
you've got
I
some
mean-
material, some new material from that 2 years experience.
I don't know. Some of the things I've seen and heard, I would frighten people. I'm only kidding. No, do you know what? I think I probably will have some things to talk about. It's been brilliant. I made some brilliant friends and some really amazing, dedicated people. I felt like I haven't done anything for 20 years. I gave up working at 35. I retired. I ran away to join the circus at 35. And when I took the job, my missus thought I'd been off my nut. She went, what? You're going to have a job? I went, yeah, I'm going to go a job. She says, last 5 minutes, you'll be sitting on your ass for 15 years. You know what I mean? And was it 17 years? Yeah. And I went, no, I'm going to do it. And I did. And that's been 2 years. So I gave up my job in 2003 and I went back to work in 2020, was it? So I hadn't worked for 17 years.
Raymond, your show, which is called Everybody Hates Raymond, and I can tell you, I've just bought my tickets. There we are, just proof.
Jeff, I would let you in for nothing.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in taking freebies,
I hope there's one there for me, Jeff. Me and Kate.
There's one here for the special person in my life.
The Puffins.
Yeah. So Everybody Hates Raymond, and the publicity for it says it's the best. I think it's the best bit of comedy self-help you'll ever come across. Well, you're basically telling people to stop worrying what other people expect of them and think of them.
Absolutely. I think what happens is we live our lives trying to get other people's validation. So we dress and make ourselves up or do things in the hope that we'll be validated by others. And I think the minute you live your life for somebody else, you kind of give your power away, because you also give them power to do you down. Because what people don't realise is that while they're doing this, we live in certainly in Scotland anyway, just a nation of begrudgers. So to me, I kind of think, I think it's better just to shoot yourself. And I think I think it's curious. Some people love that and they're inspired by it, and you do your own thing. and some people just go, who does he think he is? But it comes from my old man, you know, God rest his soul. When I was young, and when you yourself, Jeff, I would imagine you would say to your dad growing up, a working class guy in Glasgow, saying, "Dad, when I grow up, I'm going to be an actor." And I go, "Oh, come out and play with the buses, right? Your head's full of broken bottles. Get a trade." Oh, that sort of thing. So everybody has their own expectation of what is their perfect life, their best life. And for most people, I think that should always kind of be a work in progress. I think it's weird how when you're 25, you think you know it all. And then when you're 50 odds, I mean, I'm going to be 55 this year. It's obvious to me that I don't have a clue what I'm doing, which I'm told is a sign of wisdom.
Yes, self-awareness. Yeah. Well, my dad was a welder, and he quickly gave up any thought of me being a welder when I came home from school with my soldering project from metalwork, and it was an ashtray which had gaps at every corner, and I always remember that look he gave me, just to say, nah.
I mean, this was awful about it. This is your very first attempt. I mean, at least you attempted it. I think the sad thing is, and this is really the sad part, is to be dismissed like that. You go, oh, well, I'm not going to try and impress him ever again then. I think that's a sad thing. I think people are now afraid to fail.
Yeah,
I think that's what's really, people expect perfection when really what you should do is make progress. They want perfection immediately. Now, unless you've got a gazillion pound and you can get liposuctioned and ironed and everything, I've no idea, and buy designer clays and live in virtual reality, I have no idea how you reach perfection immediately. I think you try and evolve and spiral to the most perfect form you can. And then you realise even when you get there, you're just beautifully, perfectly flawed.
Yes.
You know, you're just you.
That.
So, Kate, how did you reach perfection?
What a question.
Well, I'm flattered that you think that I'm perfect, Jeff. What a lovely thing to say. No, I'm on board with Raymond's outlook. I think that's brilliant. Yeah, looking to try and being happy to fail feels like the only way to go forward in life. Raymond, do you think it's important also to be able to laugh at yourself? I feel like that's something that's really important.
100%, Kate, because I think what I do is I'm just a big buffoon, really, and I think I talk about my life and some of the mad things and the mental things that happen, and I sometimes overstretch myself. And people go, "Oh, you're an idiot, big man." You know, I come across as a bit of a fool, a bit foolish sometimes. And by doing that, by laughing at myself, certainly on stage, I kind of give people permission to laugh at them, because what they then say is they go, "Oh, thank God he said that. I thought it was just me." Do you know what I mean? So you're almost kind of sharing that sort of thing. And I think you're just giving people permission to just look at themselves and go, "Oh, I've done that. Laughs of kind of recognition, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's what I do, I think.
So, Raymond, we're all about well-being here. And what we often do with our guests is subject them to the NHS-approved 5 Ways to Wellbeing Challenge. Are you up for it?
Well, yes, and I'm prepared to fail as well, Jeff. So let's go for it.
Well, I mean, there's
Progress, not perfection.
there's a lot at stake, because if you pass this test, and by pass I mean get 3 or more of our answers correct, or satisfy me that you're doing the right thing, you will win a soft toy puffin. Now, that's what's...
puffins are big time. They're lovely.
That's what's in jeopardy here. So the person who does the quizzing on this is Nicola McKenzie. Nicola, would you like to take Raymond through his paces?
So there's 5 questions, and if you could give me an example of each one that you've done in the past week or so.
Right.
So an example of when you've connected with other people.
Yeah, I went down to see my pal Jamie in his recording studio on a week last Monday. I took 2 of my guitars and we laid down a brand new track that I had written. And, and he invited me down, and I wasn't going to go because I was kind of going, "No, I'm a terrible guitar player and the song's rubbish." But we went down, and you'll see it on my Facebook. I didn't realise he was filming me. I played a solo on the song and they'd film me, videoed me.
Oh, wow.
So that was brilliant.
That's great.
Very good. Well, that's a pass.
Definitely.
You've got one on the scoreboard there, Raymond.
Oh, I want out. I can't take the pressure.
I'm telling you, lesser men than you have crumbled at this stage.
A time when you have been physically active.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I drove from my house. I was on holiday for 2 weeks, and I drove up the Campsies, which is in the sort of like north of Glasgow. I went through Lennoxtown, parked the car, and walked up a hill. It's only about 800 feet, but I was knackered when I kind of went up, and I came back down and I was slipping, and then I went and bought a pair of hiking boots. But I've not been back up the hill yet, but I absolutely intend to after I finish the NHS.
Oh, great.
Well, this was 2 weeks ago, though. And you did say it in
2
the
weeks
last
ago.
week.
Last week, something physical last week.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
you are being a bit of a taskmaster here. I would have given you that.
It was 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. And I bought the boots. I'm wearing them.
I'll give him half a point.
Oh, he's tough, isn't he? Have you learnt a new skill in the past week?
Have I learnt a new skill in the past week? Have I learnt a new skill? I've got to be honest and say
Or a new piece of music?
no. 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 I don't think so.
Well,
No.
see, this is where I'll be kinder, because it's not about are you learning a new skill? Are you still, like, for instance, this is really boring, but I'm teaching myself Excel about spreadsheets at the moment. You know, that's the excitement I've got in my life, you know. But it's been ongoing for weeks. Anything ongoing, Raymond?
Yeah, I read all the time. So I read a lot on, well, there's one of the books I bought, The Constitution of the United States, and the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. He was the guy who was formerly a slave. And I just finished reading The Grapes of Wrath. So I'm particularly obsessed with American history and American literature. And that's been, I read The Grapes of Wrath last week. That's why I never get back up the hill. I was reading the book.
You're getting a point for that. That's learning all the time.
Yes, that's a point. That's a full point. Well
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Have you given to others in the past week?
Have you been kind?
I did. Yes, absolutely. My daughter has booked her honeymoon, and it's going to cost me £7,700, and I gave her a £500 deposit on Sunday,
Oh,
Very
lovely.
good. That's very nice.
is
and I paid the deposit for the band, and that's £1,450.
When's the
And I've
wedding?
only got £800 left for the DJ. That's 10 grand. Have I given? I give all the time. In fact, I get ripped for bum hole to ear hole.
So, bumhole to ear hole.
Also,
That's a point. That's a point.
yeah. And I gave my daughter and her hubby to be. I gave them my old car.
Oh,
I gave them my old Skoda Rapid, and then I took them for a Chinese meal.
Oh, well. What a giving man you are.
I'm giving, man. I'm going to be destitute.
Well, you've crossed the line to qualify for a puffin, but there's one more question.
There's one more question, yeah. So this one's a bit about mindfulness and how have you been paying attention to the present moment in the past week?
Yeah, well, as a comic, I live in the moment. I live completely in the moment. So much so that when my missus Annie, when Annie goes, "Where are you next week?" I go, "I don't know. You'll need to check my website because I don't know. I live in the moment." I completely and totally live in the moment because I have found that when I ruminate on some of the bad things that happened in the past, and I don't have a tendency to look back anyway. I find that some thoughts, things that's happened in the past maybe can upset you. But what I did find that I have probably a bit of an issue with is anxiety. I had a tendency at times in my life to look to the future and think about what I'm trying to accomplish or things that's coming up. And I get very anxious about that. And the way I have dealt with that is to taught myself completely from the book by Dale Carnegie, is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, is to live in day-tight compartments. I completely live in the moment. I only live up to bedtime tonight.
Oh, brilliant.
Very good. Well,
I think that's 4.5 out of 5. I'm getting a puffin.
Yeah, it's 4.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Here is your puffin.
I'm going to take that up the hill.
Well,
We need a photo of that, please.
Will I bring it along to Eden Court and chuck it on the stage halfway through, just at a crucial moment?
That'll be brilliant, Jeff. That'll be
Puffing up
absolutely
here.
brilliant.
What the heck is this? Raymond, that's been terrific. Been terrific talking to you. Just a wee reminder. So you're coming to Inverness. It's at Eden Court on the 11th of March.
11th of March.
The show is called Everyone Hates Raymond, or Everybody Hates Raymond, or
Everybody hates Raymond. Everybody hates Raymond. Yeah.
Everybody hates Raymond. And tickets are going fast. I can tell you that because I've got 2 of them already. So, and we'll look forward to seeing you just over a week.
It'll be lovely, absolutely lovely to see you again, Jeff. Haven't seen you for long enough.
Right, yeah. Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks very much for having me. You guys take care.
Okay.
Peace and love.
Peace and love to you.
See you, Kate.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
Okay, and I think that's just about it for us. Thank goodness nobody reminded me of anything that I said.
Oh, wait a minute. You thought you were getting away with it? No. I think you've got...
Oh, yeah. We forgot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So last time you said that you were going to update us every recording. So
I did indeed. So last time I emblazoned the screen with my weight, which was 18 stone, 4 pounds, and I was hoping to get under 18 stone by the next time we recorded.
And that was only a few weeks ago.
Yes. Well, partial success. Let me put the gloss on this a wee bit. In the month of February, I have lost half a stone.
Wow.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
But
Very well done. Congratulations.
I'm only at 18 point, so I'm still not under 18.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't quite achieved what I set out, but I think March will be better for me because the weather is better and I'm going to get back on my bike.
Oh, brilliant.
So
Good for you, Jeff. It's going in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
My challenge is to lose another half stone in March. How about that?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes.
And I think we should maybe take the what our guest has just suggested and strive for progress and not perfection. That's
Indeed,
brilliant.
Progress, not perfection, absolutely. And anyway, they say this slow and steady wins the race when it comes to weight loss.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kate, we'll let you go too, and we'll say goodbye from us here in Inverness. So from Kate Thompson, from Nicola Mackenzie, and from me, Jess Tazinski, from our studios in Wells Street in Inverness, this has been the first ever Ways to Wellbeing podcast, or episode 8 if it's on video. Bye-bye.
Bye.